All bike parks are different, but there are some common skills that will help you out, no matter if you're in the Alps, Whistler, or even a British trail centre. We're here in Verbier, and here's our top 5 essential bike park skills. Whoa, he looks good. Bike park trails are graded, and some of the more technical trails may have big jumps on them. It's really important that you learn to boost jumps to make height and not just rely on hitting the jumps as fast as you can to clear them, because that won't always work. This jump is quite a big one, and if I come up short, I'm in trouble. So either I need to go slow and squash it, or I need to make sure I get enough height to clear to that landing to get a nice smooth run out. Making height on jumps comes from a good bunny hop technique and then practicing the timing. Pump into the transition at the bottom of the takeoff and drive the front wheel up and into the air. When the rear wheel leaves the ground, stand up and forward to lift the rear wheel with your weight. This takes practice not only to get the technique, but more importantly, you need to try lots of different jumps to improve your intuition of when and how much to do it. That comes from experience and not from watching a video on how to do it. So the opposite of boosting jumps is actually squashing jumps, and that is just as important as being able to make height on jumps. Occasionally, you don't want to be overshooting jumps because you're going to land into another obstacle. So for that, that's where you want to soak the jump up. The best way of describing how to do that is imagine there's a low roof here and you don't want to hit your head. So you stand tall on the way in. As you ride into that takeoff, you let the bike come up to you. So you're nice and squashed over the top. As you come down here, you then push the bike down again to match the landing, and away you go. There's 2 types of squashing. There's squashing and staying on the floor, that's really safe, but there's also squashing and still jumping at the same time, just to make sure you don't overshoot that jump. Berms are really common in bike parks, so you're sure to get lots of practice. Let's look at line choice first. Generally speaking, the higher you get, the steeper the berm is, so the more grip you're going to have. Just need to make sure that you lean the bike in an extra amount to benefit from that grip. Also, try and do most of your braking before you get there if possible. Look around the corner, and you're also looking to drop down and out of that berm on the right line for whatever's coming next. Dropping your weight low and to the outside of the bike by dropping your outside pedal will help lower your centre of gravity and find extra grip. But if you hit a berm really hard and compress into it, you want to move back towards riding with flat pedals, so without any dip. That just controls your weight a little bit better. Sometimes you'll find berms go one way and then straight into another one the other way. So that's where you've got to be careful with your line, not go too high. And sometimes you really need to muscle the bike around to get it pointing in the other direction. You'll find braking bumps, especially in really high usage trails. You find them in the spots where there's lots of heavy braking, holes start digging out and almost turns into a bit of a washboard. They're going to make your suspension work really hard, but they can also tire you out. If you can, try and avoid them by taking different lines. Sometimes the wrong line into turn on the inside will work better than going through the bumps. Because it's smoother, you can brake later and find more grip. If you have to go through the bumps, keep your weight back by dropping your heels and keeping your head up. This drives the bike forward and keeps your weight from getting up and onto the bars. Also, pay special attention to your suspension setup and try and get it working really well in these bumps. When you're riding in big mountain bike parks like this one at Verbier, you can quite often get up to some very fast speeds. Going fast is fun, but can be very painful. Remember to keep your head up and scan the trail for direction and obstacles. The general rule is the faster you go, the further you want to look. I call it riding in your peripheral. So the trail down below you, you can see in your peripheral vision, but you've got to keep your head up looking where the trail's going. Stay focused and get ready to unweight the bike over any obstacles by using a good bunny hop technique. Keep weight a little bit back on the bike. It's good for driving the bike over any unseen bumps. Something else to consider when riding fast trails is blind sections like this brow or maybe a corner that you can't see around. Don't presume that they're safe, no matter what grade trail they're on. Ride those with a bit of caution until you know the trail and you know what is beyond that part that you can't see. Okay, so there's my top 5 essential bike park skills. I would say there's definitely more skills videos that are worth checking out. One definitely is my in-depth how to make height on jumps, so click up here for that one. Or for suspension setup explained, you can click down here. or click on me and my recliner to subscribe to GMBN. But you got to do it quick because I'm going to melt.